I'm thrilled. You know, the SNP has increased its share of the vote, increased the number of councillors. We are the largest party in more councils today than we were yesterday. We've won the election, and we've won the election by a country mile. I think it's the 8th consecutive election win under my leadership of the SNP, all after 15 years in government. So it is a stupendous result for the SNP and sends the clearest possible message to Boris Johnson and the Tories.
Labour say that they have a result in Glasgow given their improvement. Labour are off the canvas in this election, do you think?
Well, from what I gather, the SNP is still the largest party in Glasgow. We have, under the brilliant leadership of Susan Aitken, retained the city of Glasgow with more seats and more votes, as I understand, in terms of the latest tally I've seen. And Labour threw the kitchen sink at Glasgow, and they have benefited hugely from the massive collapse in the Tory vote, and yet they still can't defeat the SNP. So I think there's some reflection perhaps needed on Labour's behalf there. Look, I understand Labour will see moving back into second place in Scotland as a bright spot. They haven't had many of those in recent years, but they're still, you know, I think some, 12, 13 percentage points behind the SNP. So I'm interested in the SNP result. After 15 years in government, we have won another election, not marginally, we have won the election overwhelmingly. And let me congratulate my councillors and activists in every part of the country who have campaigned tirelessly in the last weeks and months. And I think, you know, the Tories, in particular in Scotland, have suffered a devastating result, and I think there is lots of thinking on the part of Douglas Ross that is going to be necessary.
What do you think of the police investigation into Keir Starmer possibly breaking lockdown rules?
It's a police investigation, and as you know, it would be entirely wrong and inappropriate for me to comment any further on that while it is ongoing.
What should Douglas Ross do now?
Look, that's for Douglas Ross to determine, although I suspect, having seen some of the comments from his own colleagues over the course of the day, it may be a decision they take out of his hands. There's clearly deep unhappiness at his leadership. You know, he has shown really poor judgment in the last few weeks. The calling for Boris Johnson to resign when it looked as if the Tories were going to kick Boris Johnson out, and, you know, trying to suggest that was a really big, brave thing to do. And then when that changed, allowing himself to be hauled back into line just shows a lack of consistency and resolve and a real lack of leadership. I mean, this result is terrible for the Scottish Tories. Now, it's for them to decide where they go from here. If you don't mind, I'm going to go in and celebrate with my own councillors here.